Mic check, mic check. This is Andy Henriquez. Of course, I want to welcome you to the Thursday night show for your life motivational broadcast. About to get started. Lewis is introducing me. Here we go. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, Lewis. I just made it back in time. As you know, I literally just left an event, and I'm so happy to be here and be able to deliver this message to the Show Up for Your Life community. And of course, like we always do, I want to take care of a couple of house clean things. So for those of you who are watching us right now via the live stream, or for those of you who are listening and say, wait a second, what live stream? I thought that this was only a conference call. I didn't know that this was a live stream. Well, listen, you can watch me deliver this message live right now. All you have to do is go to showupforyourlife.com. When you get to showupforyourlife.com, simply click on the live stream banner. When you click on the live stream banner, it's going to take you directly to the live stream video. And of course, for those of you who are tuning in right now, I want to thank you for that. And I just got a few instructions for those of you who are watching right now via the live stream. If you simply look right below the video, look right there where I'm pointing, right below the video, you're going to see that you can hit the share button. You can share this live stream motivational message right now. You can share it on Twitter. You can share it on Facebook. You can share it on Google+. You can share it on the various social media. And so go ahead and hit the share button right now and let them know, hey, join us right now. We're about to get started on the Show Up for Your Life motivational movement, the Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream message. So make sure you hit the share button. We made sure that the guy, my web guy, his name is Tiger. He's absolutely amazing. But he created these very simple, quick share buttons right below the video to give you an opportunity to go ahead and hit the share button so that other people can go ahead and tune in and join us for the Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream message. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to go ahead and share this message. And for those of you who are tuning in right now, who are listening via the conference call line, of course, I want to thank and welcome all of you. And I also want to give you an opportunity right now, if you're by a computer, or if you can go ahead and pull out your mobile device, and you can go ahead and look. If you and I are connected right now on Facebook or on Twitter or anything, you'll be able to find a post promoting tonight's message, and you can go ahead and hit the share button and let people know, hey, we're about to get started on the Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream as well as conference call. Or you can go ahead and send a text message to a friend or a family member, or if you're on the reminder text message, let them know, hey, tune in, join us right now. We're about to get started on the Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream and conference call. And of course, I want to thank every single one of you for deciding to show up, and most importantly, for deciding to be part of the Show Up for Your Life motivational movement. And for those of you who are joining us for the very first time, I just want to, of course, welcome you. My name's Andy Henriquez, and I am so happy that you have chosen to join us, regardless of how you found out about this, whether someone told you on social media, whether you find out you got a post, or somebody just tell you, listen, you just got to call in, you got to dial in, or you got to listen to this live stream message. And regardless of what got you here, maybe you had an opportunity to see me speak someplace, or you came across a video on YouTube, regardless of how you got here, you are here right now. And let me just tell you, we're excited, and we thank you for being part of Show Up for Your Life motivational movement and live stream. And of course, for those of you who join us each and every week, some of you have now been joining us for months and even years. It's hard to believe that the Show Up for Your Life motivational conference call has been taking place now for over 5 years. And I thank so many. Literally, we have had hundreds and even thousands of people through those 5 years that have actually had an opportunity to experience this message, experience the Show Up for Your Life movement. And let me just tell you that this could not happen, absolutely could not happen, if it wasn't for all of you who continue to show up each and every week, who continue to spread the word. And I thank you for that. And so here's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about raising the bar. I'm talking about increasing your level of expectation. I'm talking about leaving behind mediocrity. I'm talking about wanting more out of your life, requiring more from those who are around you, requiring more from your circumstances, requiring more from your environment, and requiring more from yourself. And so I believe that every single one of us, that regardless of what we've accomplished up until this point, so regardless of what you've done in your personal life, regardless of what you've done with your finances, regardless of what you've done in your career, regardless of what you've done in your business, I believe that at any moment that we have the capacity to do more, that we have the capacity to raise the bar. I just finished leaving a networking event, and I was speaking to my friend, Dr. Jermaine. She happens to be the president of the Urban League of Broward County, and she was was talking about, she says, Andy, you know what? I just feel like there are so many people who are living below what is possible for them. There are so many people who are going through life and all they'll ever do is reach to a level 4 when they have the capacity to get to a level 10. And there are many people right now who maybe perhaps they're working at jobs in which they know that there's something in them that has the capacity to do so much more, that maybe right now in what they've allowed and what they've accepted as far as their income, as far as their health, as far as their relationships, they're just basically have settled. And so I'm talking to that part of you that wants more, the part of you that wants to raise the bar, the part of you that has greater expectations. You know, as a matter of fact, I was just watching one of the individuals I love to tune in. There's a gentleman by the name of Evan Carmichael. He is on YouTube and he puts out these videos and he puts out the top 10 tips of very famous, highly influential individuals. So there's like the top 10 tips from Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and CEO of Facebook, the top 10 things from Warren Buffett, from Tyler Perry, from Oprah Winfrey, from Ralph Lauren. I mean, from every successful person that you can actually think of. And I was actually watching one of the top 10 actual success tips from a billionaire that he's an Indian descent billionaire. As a matter of fact, he got his starts really starting and launching a particular company, but he has made the Forbes list. And it's so funny. He was addressing a group of Stanford students. And while he was talking to them, of course, I guess you're a billionaire. You get to really say what you want, especially when the school brings you in. And so he was being very honest with them and candid with them. And he looked at the audience and he said this. He said that 90% of you are right now, you're majoring and you're pursuing something that is expected of you rather than you doing the thing that you want to do. And I'm going to repeat that. He said 90% of you have just simply created an expectation or are going after a particular goal or a dream or majoring in something, 90% of you based off of somebody else's expectations, and many of you, only 10% of you, will ever decide to raise the bar in your life and decide to actually pursue that thing that you have the desire to pursue yourselves. And so I'm sick and tired of so many of us who are simply just going through the process, going through life, that are just engaged in low life living, that are engaged in just have accepted the status quo and has subscribed to a life of mediocrity. And so what I'm challenging you to do right now is to get a little uncomfortable and begin to raise the bar. Coincidentally, I told you I just left a networking event, but this networking event was actually being held at a very unique location. And so this networking event was being held where else? Nothing else than a Tesla showroom. And so for those of you, unless you've been hiding under a rock, maybe perhaps you haven't heard of Tesla, but Tesla is a revolutionary, groundbreaking automotive company that has literally turned our concept of the modern day vehicle completely upside down by creating a fully electric motor vehicle. And so the other day, it was just last week, I literally kept my wife up because they were doing the grand unveiling of a new vehicle that was being released by Tesla Motor Company. And the unveiling was of a new vehicle, their Model 3, which everybody has been anticipating this vehicle because they have been releasing some phenomenal vehicles, but for a lot of people, it's been outside of their price range. And so they're releasing this Model 3, which is one of their fully electronic cars with the starting price of $35,000, which is significantly less than their Model S, which is a starting price of about $70,000. And so I was listening to Elon Musk, who happens to be a billionaire, who is also the founder and CEO of Tesla, and I was listening to him sort of map out how he raised the bar and how the company raised the bar on the automotive industry. And so the very first thing that they released was the Tesla Roadster. And he said that we had to bring to the automotive market, he said we wanted to bring forth a vehicle that got people to, number one, to believe that an electronic vehicle was possible. You see, a lot of people thought it was a cool little thing in science projects and competitions, but many people didn't think it was possible, really practical, to be able to drive a fully electronic vehicle to get from point A to point B, to drive it every single day. People didn't think it was possible. And so that was the first thing we did, was launch the Tesla Roadster. And he says, but of course, we're testing the market. And so the Tesla Roadster was, for most people, outside their price range, because to buy a Tesla Roadster, you had to pay over $100,000 to get the vehicle. And then he said, once we were able to get people to fully respect that, you know what, that a fully electric vehicle can actually work, he said, then we wanted to bring to the market the next vehicle. And so they introduced the Model S. The Model S is probably what most of you have seen. Very sleek, very sexy, attractive looking, four-door coupe vehicle, fully electric, absolutely amazing vehicle. Most people don't even fully understand it. I've had the opportunity to spend a couple of days with the Model S, and let me just tell you, it is an absolutely phenomenal vehicle. For those of you who've never been in a Tesla, the amazing thing about the car, you walk up to the car, the door handles come out. There's absolutely no sound of an engine, because there is no engine. It's fully battery operated. There is a front trunk and a back trunk because there is no engine. When you get in the vehicle, you don't have to press a button to start it. The vehicle is automatically on. All you have to do is press the brake, put it in gear, and drive off. And I've also had the opportunity to drive the Tesla that goes from 0 to 60 in less than 3.5 seconds in the ludicrous mode. We're talking about insane, but I share that with you to help you to understand this. Elon Musk and the Tesla family, they decided to raise the bar. You know, let me tell you, year after year, we're watching automotive industry. We're watching all these different dealerships and all these different car makes and models. They're bringing out new vehicles. And yes, they're putting out cool little new features. And, you know, I remember the first time, you know, GPS came out, and the first time a backup camera came out, the first time you had side view mirrors that flapped in and so forth. And so it's easy to look on at the automotive industry and say to yourself, well, what else could somebody come up with? Because everything's been out there. But what I admire about Elon Musk and Tesla is that they looked at an industry that most people would say that there's nothing else that you can bring to the industry, and they decided to raise the bar. And because they raised the bar, because of the fact that they have now, and they're about to bring to full market production, the Model 3, which now the everyday individual is going to be able to afford a fully electric vehicle. Now, what do you think has happened? Now you have other car dealerships, other companies that are scrambling, and now they're trying to figure out what are we going to do to get into this fully electric market? What are we going to do? Because they're realizing that that's the turn of the industry. And so what I'm saying to you is this, that at any moment we can make a decision that outside of what you're currently seeing, outside of what you're seeing in your career, outside of what you're seeing in your business industry, outside of what you're seeing in your business right now, outside of what you're seeing in your marriage, outside of what you're seeing when it comes to your bank account, any moment you can make a decision that you are going to break the mold, that you are going to raise the bar, that you're going to do something that other people are going to think is absolutely insane, that you're going to do something that others have not done. You're going to do something not because you're trying to worry about the competition, but because you believe that it's possible and because you are raising the bar on yourself. And so what I'm commissioning you to do right now is, if you're looking at your life right now, and it's very easy for us to potentially get comfortable. I was talking to somebody who could potentially become one of my new clients, and we may possibly be doing a VIP day. And he was talking about, he said, Andy, man, I've got business coming in and things are going well. And he said, man, in many ways, almost to my detriment, because I've gotten comfortable. And because I've gotten comfortable, I'm not doing the things that I know that I need to do to grow and scale my business. And I was telling him, I said, listen, man, you're not the only one guilty of us. Many of us get to that point where we get very comfortable. And because of the fact we get comfortable, we have the bar set at a certain level where it's just where we want it to be, where we can live where we want to be, where we can buy the things that we want to have. We can take the little trips here and there. We can do the things that we want to do, and we're living pretty comfortably. And so listen, comfort is one of the biggest things that keep you engaged and keep you fully enrolled in a life of mediocrity. And so what we have to do is be willing to step outside of our comfort zone and get uncomfortable and literally raise the bar on ourselves. And so I want you to think about your life right now. I want you to think about any area in your life, whether it has to do with your finances, whether it has to do with your personal relationship, whether it has to do with your health, whether it has to do with your career. I want you to look at and examine the different areas in your life. And I want you to think about, what are the areas in your life in which you want more? What are the areas in your life in which you know that you have the capacity to achieve more? The areas in your life in which you know that you can make more impact, that you can possibly make more income, that you can actually be a game changer, that you can transform lives, not just your life selfishly, but I'm talking about transforming the lives of others. And I want to challenge you to not just have a great lofty conversation about it, but I want to challenge you to raise the bar, to require more of yourself, to bring things to the next level. You know, I'll never forget this. It was one of the NBA players that was talking about something that I believe he said his mother or his grandmother taught him. And he said it was a little saying, and he says he always replays it. And he said that his grandma or his mother used to always say, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good becomes better and your better becomes your best. I'm going to say that one more time. He said, she would tell me all the time, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good becomes better and your better becomes your best. And all it is a very cool, fancy way to keep saying that you got to continue to raise the bar, that you got to continue to try to push yourself, because regardless of what you're able to do today, tomorrow you have the capacity to do so much more. And so what I realize is this, is that if you don't be very careful about who you surround yourself with and who it is that you're having conversation with, and what it is that you allow yourself to get comfortable doing, you will very slowly, surely be able to slip into something that makes you very comfortable. And that's why it's very important for those of you that have dreams and goals and aspirations to get around people who are achieving and are performing at higher levels than you, people who are operating, so that when you're feeling yourself and you're feeling good and you think you're doing something, you get around some other people and realize, wait a second, I thought I was doing a little something, but you know what? I could be doing so much more. It's important that regardless of where you are right now, and I'm not talking about from a materialistic standpoint, but if you have a goal, you have a dream, you have a desire, it's important that you get out sometimes and maybe get into those beautiful multi-million-dollar neighborhoods, if that's not where you're at right now, and look at the beautiful homes, if that's what you desire in your life, and be able to just look at it so that you don't get comfortable with where you are right now. If maybe you have the desire to travel and make some things happen, it's important that periodically that you go ahead and you look up some great trips, and trips to Europe, and trips to Prague, and over to Paris, or wherever it is, Dubai, or wherever it is that you want to travel, so that you can keep your mind mentally engaged, and so that you can continue to raise the bar in your life, and so that you're not willing to just simply make a trade-off and just simply settle for average and settle for mediocrity. And so I want you right now to take a cold, honest look at your life right now. And I want you to be honest, and I want you to answer the question, whatever you've accomplished up until this point, in your finances, in your relationships, or with your health, or whatever it is that you've accomplished up until this point, do you have the capacity to raise the bar? Or maybe perhaps you've been blessed and fortunate enough where maybe something has been passed on to you. Are you comfortable with just maintaining, or are you willing to raise it to the next level? I was just on the phone today with another friend of mine. I was very, very, very good friends with his father. His father, unfortunately, passed away within the past 2 years. His father passed away. His father was an extraordinary man, an extraordinary businessman. And his father not only was an extraordinary businessman and a real estate investor, but he decided to create a real estate investor club that was able to share real estate strategies and really help a lot of people to get their start in real estate and to elevate their game. And so once the father passed away, I was curious to figure out, well, what's going to happen to this meeting? What's going to happen with the things that the father has created? And I was very pleased today when I was speaking to the son. And he said, Andy, listen, I know you've been busy, man. I know you just recently wrote the book. I know you got your book launch that's coming up this Saturday. I know you people have been pre-ordering, getting your books. And I saw you were also featured in Black Enterprise, and all that stuff's awesome, man. He said, man, we got to get you to come back by the meetings. I said, man, well, first of all, I'm happy to know the meetings are going well. He said, listen, man, they're doing more than going going well, man. He says the meetings are packed. He said not only that, but we decided to incorporate some technology. He said now not only do we have a packed room for the meetings, but we periscope the actual meeting. And he said that we had over 100 people that were tuning in from all across the world who are watching our meeting via Periscope. He said that you remember when my dad had the meeting, it was just in one county. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to spread our wings. We're going to have another meeting going on in 2 other counties. And he said that once we prove the concept, we're going to go ahead and make it a franchise and allow other people to begin their own real estate clubs in their own various cities. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, his father would be looking on right now and would be so proud. And the reason why is because his son didn't just take what he had and tried to maintain it. His son didn't just take what he passed on to him and lose it. But no, rather what he's doing is he's raising the bar. He's taking it to the next level. And so what I'm asking you right now is what's in your hand right now? What has been given to you? What are your gifts? What are your skills? What are your talents? What is it that you bring to the table? And what is it that you can do right now with your hand to raise the bar? How can you take your current amount of resources that you have right now and raise the bar, make more impact, and contribute and make different things happen in not just your life, but in other people's lives? How can you raise the bar in your job, in your profession? What can you do so that you can actually operate and perform at a higher level and so that you can have more impact on the people who are around you? How can you raise the bar in your marriage? How can you raise the bar as a father, as a mother? How can you raise the bar? And really, that's the question. And I'm telling you right now, this is one of those things that I wouldn't in 100 years I ever tell you that it's something that's easy, but it's something that has to be self-imposed. It's one of those things that you really got to dig deep. You've got to find that willpower, that thing within, and you've got to draw from that place, and you've got to come to that place and having the expectation where you say to yourself, well, you know what? I have the capacity to do so much more than what I've done so far. And even though I've accomplished some great things, even though some great things have happened for me, I know that I can do more. And if you're a person who's an achiever, you should have the desire so that those around you will continue to raise the bar. Why? Because when one of us raises the bars, all of us benefit. Because it causes all of us to dig deep. It causes all of us to see that other things are possible. You see, Tesla raised the bar. And so now that there are a lot of other car companies who were just dibbling and dabbling with the fully electric vehicle, but now that they're actually seriously considering it, now they're looking into the innovation, now that they're changing their game plan. You know, when any one of my speaker friends make some great things happen, when they raise the bar, when they create an opportunity, when they get featured in a publication, when they land a new client, when they begin a new program, when they begin anything, what it is it benefits all of us because it forces all of us to begin to raise the bar. I tell you, one of the things that I was pretty proud of and happy about was when I graduated high school, in the county that I graduated in, which is Broward County, I received an award my senior year of high school. And I received the award, and I was being honored by Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. They actually decided to go ahead and issue out 2 rewards, and they named it the Minerva Award. And they decided to give the reward out to the African-American male with the highest GPA in the county of Broward County. And they chose me based off of my GPA. I graduated high school, I think, with like a 4.4 GPA. And at that particular time, 96 in Broward County, off of them doing a search between the different high schools and so forth, they said that I had the highest GPA out of all the African-American males in the Broward County area. And so I was very humbled and honored. And so I want you to realize this. Listen to this. Fast forward about 14 years later, or maybe even, a matter of fact, it was actually more than 14 years later. We're talking about maybe about 18 years later, I receive a phone call. And so I received a phone call, and they say, hey, Andy, listen, we are looking for a keynote speaker. And not only are we looking for a keynote speaker, but this is for a specific event. And believe it or not, you were an honoree for this event back in 1996. And we would like for you to be the keynote speaker, and we would like for you to go ahead and help us to distribute the award. It is called the Minerva Award. Do you remember that? I said, oh my goodness, yes, I do remember that award. I got it, and I still believe someplace in one of my boxes, I still have that award someplace. As a matter of fact, I told him if I could dig it up, and I was able to dig it up, I said, I'm going to bring it with me so I could show you. And so here's what the amazing thing is. This is what the cool thing is. So we're sitting through, and they're giving me the list of the individuals that are going to receive scholarships and the awards. And then everyone's waiting for the entire day. They're waiting for these two awards, right, which is the highest GPA. And so, I'm excited and so forth because I'm thinking, I had a 4.4 GPA. I'm feeling real cool and so forth. And so I said, well, I wonder if whoever got the award this year, if they if they had at least a 4.4 GPA. I was like, I wonder if my GPA is still the highest, for all time. So sure enough, they go on and they're going to announce, whoever that award goes to. And they said, this is the person that got the GPA. And so I announced the person, I handed them an award, and I just asked the young man, I said, well, what's your GPA? It was the craziest thing. And this young man told me something like, I didn't even think was humanly possible. But he said something like he had something like a 5.2 GPA. First of all, I didn't even know it's possible to get a 5.2 GPA. I mean, to get straight A's, first of all, you got a 4.0 GPA. The only way I was able to get over a 4.0 is I had, advanced classes where I got extra credit. And I don't know what kind of classes this young man had to be over a 5.0. I didn't even think it was possible, like mathematically possible to get over a 5.0. And I was thinking to myself, wow. You want to talk about raising the bar. I mean, now they probably look on at the GPA I had at the time, excuse me, and they probably are like, man, that's an absolute joke. I mean, they blew that GPA out of the water. And let me just tell you, I was sitting there and I was so proud. I was so proud of this young man for raising the bar, because what I realized is now he created a new standard. And now what it means is that the next person to win that award can now look on and say, wow, you know what? Someone had a 5.2 GPA, but now, you know what? I'm going to shoot to go even higher than a 5.2 GPA. I'm going to shoot to take things like out of the atmosphere like this young man did. And so what I'm saying to you is realize this, that when we raise the bar, we give others permission to do the same. As a matter of fact, we empower others to take things to the next level. As many of you remember, you'll remember the story, at one point they said it wasn't possible to run the mile within a certain amount of minutes. And everybody thought it was absolutely impossible. And then sure enough, what happened? A gentleman came in and broke the record. And guess what? Right after he broke the record, when everybody said it wasn't possible, shortly thereafter, quite a few other people broke the record as well. Why did that happen? Well, the reason why is because Roger Bannister, he actually raised the bar, and he raised people's belief system that because he raised the bar, that now other people realized that it was possible for them. And so here's the only thing that I'm saying to you right now, and here's what I want you to think about for a moment. I just want you to look at your life, and I want you to examine the different areas in your life. I want you to examine your finances. I want you to examine your health. I want you to examine your relationships. I want you to examine your spirituality. And I want you to think about all these different areas in your life. Do you truly believe that you are operating at the absolute highest level possible? Do you believe that you're operating at the highest level possible? In other words, in your career, you could do no better. In your business, you could do no better. In your relationship, you could do no better. In your marriage, you could do no better. When it comes to your faith and your spirituality, you could do no better. I want you to examine those different areas in your life. And if you know that you know that you know that you know that you have the capacity to do more, that there's something in you that has the desire to do more, I want to challenge you to raise the bar. I want to challenge you to raise the bar, not because somebody else told you to raise the bar, but I want you to raise the bar on yourself. And so it brings me back. When we were kids, I remember I lived in area of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. My cousins, they live about 45 minutes away. And I remember sometimes my mom didn't want to drive me up there, so I would take this little public train down here, and I'd drive up, take the train up there. My aunt would come pick me up, and me and my cousins, we get in the backyard, and we play all kind of games. We play football. We go ahead and play tag. We play tug of war. We anything we could think of. And one of the times we would play this game, and what we'll do is we'll go in the kitchen, go get my aunt's broomstick, and we'll take the end of the broomstick where the bristles are, and we turn the bristles right off, and we would just take off the end. And so now all we have was a stick. And then what we have two people lined up on one side of the yard, and the two people would hold the stick, and they would hold the stick close to the ground, and the rest of us would get in a single file line. And so the object of the game is we would go ahead and we would approach the stick, and we would either step over the stick or jump over the stick, depending on how high it is, get back in the line, and every single time we would continue to raise the bar. And so the amazing thing is when we played this game, is that you would start off and it would be so simple because the bar was so low. So all you had to do was walk up and literally just step over it. But something would happen that every single time you got back in line, that you yourself would tell the two people that were holding the bar to bring it up a little more. And so you were yourself telling them to go ahead and raise the bar. And every single time they raised the bar, something happened. You had to dig in a little deeper. You had to focus a little more. Sometimes you had to back up and take a couple extra steps. And sometimes you would run up to it, and then you'd feel as if, wait a second, I don't think I'm ready. And then you get back in line and you try to mentally prepare yourself to get to the next level. But something happened when you jumped over and you made it and you raised the bar. What happened is you raised your belief system. You found out that you're able to do so much more than you have the capacity to do. Your confidence went up, and you left there realizing that, wait a second, I didn't think I could clear the bar at that level, and I did. And so it makes you realize that you can do so much more. And so I'm challenging you right now that regardless of what you've accomplished in your life up until this point, I want to challenge you to raise the bar. I want to challenge you to break away from mediocrity. I want to challenge you for break away from the status quo. I want to challenge you to do more, to become more, to aspire for more, for achieve for more. Because why? Because I know it's absolutely possible for you. And so what I'm asking you to do is for you to raise the bar on yourself, not because somebody's getting on top of you, not because they're forcing you to do it, but because it's possible and because you have the capacity and the ability to do it. And so I want you right now to raise the bar in your life, raise the bar in your finances, raise the bar in your relationship, raise the bar in your health, and raise the bar for your goals and your dreams. And you know this wouldn't be Andy Henriquez if I didn't end by telling you this. Show up for your lives, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't, nobody else will. All right. Well, absolutely. Let me just tell you, I am so happy. I am thrilled that all of you decided to tune in and join me for the Show Up for Your Life motivational movement. And so I want to extend a very special invitation. And of course, this is not going to go out to everybody because I understand that all of you are not located in South Florida. We have people who are listening to this motivational message all across the United States, also in different countries. But for those of you who are located in South Florida, I want to invite you this weekend is the book launch party for my book, Show Up for Your Life, 7 Principles to Living an Extraordinary Life. And so we're having the book launch party this Saturday at the Hard Rock Casino Hotel from 7 to 9:30 p.m. at a venue called Piano Hollywood. And so I would absolutely love for you to come out and be my guest. This is going to be an amazing celebration. You can expect there to be music, fun, giveaways, laughter, a lot of great faces. And of course, most importantly, you are going to make sure that you get a copy of my book, as I also share a couple words about the book and what went into making this a reality. And also, I just want to let all of you know who are listening and tuning in right now that you can get my book right now. It is available on both Amazon and it is available on Barnes & Noble's online. And so you can go online right now and get the book at Amazon, or you can go on Barnes & Noble's online and go ahead and get the book, or you can go ahead and order the book directly through my company. You can go to showupforyourlifebook.com. Once again, you can go to showupforyourlifebook.com. When you get there, you'll learn a little more about the book. You'll get to see some extraordinary endorsements that I got from some pretty powerful people that had the opportunity to go through the manuscript. And I'm telling you this, that if you were just going to read one book this year, and of course I wouldn't dare say above the Bible, right? And so putting the Bible to the side, which I think is a book that all of us should make sure we're in and reading on a daily and weekly basis. But if you had to pick one other book to read, then I'm telling you right now that you definitely want to get your hands on Show Up for Your Life, 7 Principles to Living an Extraordinary Life. I share 7 transformational principles that I am so certain that if you apply these principles to your life, that it will fundamentally create a shift and a change in your life. If you've been going through basically the daily grind, you've been going through the rat race, and you know in your heart that you have a desire to go from just living an ordinary life and you want to become extraordinary, in other words, you want to raise the bar, then this book, the principles in the book, the exercises in the book, the inspiring stories in the book is going to be just the catalyst, the very thing that you need to get you to truly begin to show up for your life, to do the things that that you have the capacity to do. So make sure that right now you go to showupforyourlifebook.com and get it, or swing by Barnes and Nobles, or go ahead and get it on Amazon. But you definitely want to get a copy of the book. And of course, once you get through the book, be sure to go ahead and leave me a review. I'm going to absolutely love that. And of course, like we always do, one of the things I'm going to make sure that we do is we're going to go ahead and open up the lines. Now, for those of you who are tuning in via the live stream, or if you're listening in on the conference call line and you haven't already done so, I want to invite you to join our Show Up for Your Life online community. And you can do that. Just simply open up a separate web browser and type in showupgroup.com, showupgroup.com. When you get there, go ahead and send us a request to join our online group. It's going to direct you to our private Facebook page. Send us a request and we'll be more than happy to let you get in there. For those of you who are tuning in right now and you can't speak up because you're watching via the live stream, we'll be able to take your question, comments, and feedback in the Show Up group. Sonia Waters, just want to go ahead and welcome you to the Show Up group, who just sent a request to join the group. Welcome so much to the group. And Lewis, I'm going to go ahead and put my phone on speakerphone. Lewis, go ahead and open up the line so we can go ahead and get our question, comments, and feedback.
All participants are unmuted. All participants are muted, and they can unmute themselves.
Excellent. So Lewis just unmuted the line. I want to get your question, comments, and feedback. Hopefully some of you have been inspired tonight to raise the bar if you haven't already done so. But if you got any value from tonight's message, if you're joining me this Saturday for the book launch, for those of you who already pre-ordered the book, just to let you know, after this Saturday, the books are going to be coming out right away. I know if you do order the book too on Amazon, if you're Amazon Prime, you get the book in like 2 days. But like always, we're going to open up the line. So go ahead and press *6 to unmute your line. I want to hear your question, comments, and feedback. So Lewis has officially opened up the lines, and you just press *6 to unmute your line. I want to hear from you.
Hi, Andy. This is Charlie Day. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
Awesome. Greetings to you and also to Sandra. I just wanted to say thank you so much for tonight because it's so right on point about where I am in my life. Of course, I just became like a top 50 money earner in my company.
Awesome.
And of course, I win a Mercedes of my choice, which is so incredible.
Wow.
And I've been with the company for over 5 years, and of course, you know I'm going to get the best, okay? That's AMG, baby, saddle, leather, all that good stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Like, I had to cut off a lot of friends and cut off a lot of activities, and I just, I was there for my friends, my business partners, you guys, in our 72 hours of power and everything. And I could just hear, I personally heard God tell me just to finish what I started with the company that I had been with, because I have several companies, but this one, he said, you got to finish this. And I just listened to him, and I just kept working and working with a no quit attitude, and it was bumps and grind. So to receive the award and receive the recognition, to be in an industry such as that and being a top 50 money earner was like so amazing. Like I wouldn't even dream that I would have been, but I kind of said, I want to be, And so when it happened, I said, oh my goodness. So it took me 2 or 3 days to decompress because I was like, oh my God, what is this? So now I'm at this point where I'm doing my planning again. I was like, you know what? I don't want to just be top 50. I want to be like number 1.
Wow.
And it's like, is that realistic? And so I want to be number 1. I don't care who's been there for 10 years, and I've only been there for 5. It's now saying, let's take this baby to another level. And how do I get there? I don't know. But you know what? The closer you get to the top, the less mouths are open to you. So you're just like, God, how do I do that? Like, I know I can do better because I don't feel like I gave it my all, Andy, and for you to be having this conversation with us to show up and show out, but raise that bar a little. higher. I know there's some things that I need to do, do more calls, do more presentations, create a new way of just doing things. And I know, and so I hear you speaking, I'm just saying you're speaking to me. But thank you. So, yeah, my confidence went up another latch. I mean, I'm not like, good God, but the bar has been raised. So I want to say thank you. And, any suggestions about what I could do right now? Because I'm like, okay, I'm stuck. Even though I'm there, I'm stuck again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm here, but now what?
Absolutely. And so first of all, let me say this to you. First of all, congratulations. And that is such an extraordinary feat. I mean, to be the top 50 at anything, literally anything on the planet, to be top 50 is an extraordinary thing. And so a couple of things that I just want to remind you is that one of the things we have to always remember when we decide to raise the bar, and when you got to the top 50, what I want you to always remember is what you had to do in order to get there. And so what most people don't realize, especially for people who are operating at high levels of success, a lot of times people are expecting it to be magical, or for it to be like a secret formula. And so really high success achievers, like people who get from the top 50 to the top 10 to top status, many of them have just really truly mastered the mundane. And so oftentimes it's just literally making more repetitions of what it is that you are already doing. So that's one of the things that I just want to remind you, is that when many people fall off and they begin to backslide and slide back, it's often because we self-sabotage ourselves, because we stopped doing the very thing that got us the results that got us there in the first place. So I just want you to remember, as you're ordering your Mercedes and picking out the leather and picking out the actual stereo and picking out the color and the trim and picking out whether you're going to do sunroof and AMG package and picking out the set of wheels and whether you're going to get the run flat tires or whatever it is, all those things as you're doing it, I want you to remember all through that process, number one, to appreciate it, because many of us that are high achievers, we hit these big moments, and my wife is good at calling me out about that, and we don't take it in. So you got to take in what you've happened and learn to celebrate this milestone, as you will also celebrate when you hit the top 25, you hit the top 10, and then you get to the number one position. So continue to do what you've done. Then the other thing is that even high achievers such as yourself, the other thing is that I want to challenge you is to be very careful on your languaging, right? And so you mentioned the word being stuck. You are not stuck. You're just in a process right now of figuring things out and how to get to the next level. Someone who is stuck is doing absolutely nothing. What you are doing is not called being stuck. What you're doing is called figuring it out, leveling the game, getting to the next level, trying to figure out how to sharpen your craft, trying to figure out how to produce more with less, trying to figure out how to be more efficient, trying to be very strategic and intentional about who you allow to get your time, your energy, and your effort. Because when you're looking to get to the top 1% and you're working with many people on your team, you should only be spending time with the people who have proven that they deserve your time on your team. So there's going to be a lot of energy drainers. There's going to be a lot of people who want to get in your presence that are seriously not serious. And so one of the things that takes to get to the 1% when you've been in the top 50 is to now be very, very selfish with your time. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but when I say selfish, I'm talking about selfish in the sense of who gets your time. And so we want to work with people who prove, people who are working the business, people who are putting in the time, people who are putting in the effort. Those are the people who get your time, not the people who are doing nothing and just want to have a bunch of great conversation. So that's the other thing that I would definitely tell you to be very careful of, the language of stuck. And then something else you said, and you might say, geez, he listens to everything. I listen very intently. So you said the closer you get to the top, the less mouths that are open. In other words, when I hear that, you're implying that the closer you get to the top, the less people who are willing to share and tell you stuff. Now, if that is the story you tell yourself, you will find a way to validate that. In other words, we call that a predisposition bias. And so it's like a predisposed bias. So in other words, you put that seed in your brain, the closer I get to the top, the less people who are willing to help me. So you will find ways to validate that very statement that you made in your life. So you will find someone that you ask a question and they weren't willing to give you the actual answer and so forth. And so you see, I knew it. The closer I get to the top, the less people that are willing to help me. But I would tell you to be careful with your language, because I actually find that it is quite the opposite. That as you continue to succeed and you get in the presence of other people who've truly achieved high success, and anybody in your industry can only get to high levels of success by helping a lot of other people. I find that a lot of people, when they see the passion, they see the conviction, when they see that you're a rising star, that often when they look at you, they see something in you that reminded them of themselves when they were coming through the process. And even though they may not be willing to share things with other people, they're willing to share it with you. And so in my personal life, my experience has been that when I get around people who are high achievers, that I found that many a times they've been willing to pull me aside on the corner and say, hey, you know what? I just love the way that you show up. I love your commitment. I love how hard you're working. And so even though I don't normally share this with people, I want to share it with you. And so I think you want to be very intentional about changing that internal dialogue, because that conversation that you're having outside will appear in your life. And so you may even want to reconsider writing down every day and changing some of the things. Like, for number one, that I am always building powerful teams. I am always progressing and moving forward. I do nothing but rise to the top. Another thing that you may want to write down is that I am always finding successful people in my industry who are willing to share tips and strategies and resources with me to help me to get to number one in my company. People are always sharing tips and strategies and resources with me to help me to get to the place that I want to get in my business. And if you continue to write that down and meditate on that, you will find that you will find ways to validate that in your life. And so that's exactly what you want to do. This is only the tip of the iceberg. You hitting that 50 right now, in the top 50%, you picking out the Mercedes. You think the Mercedes that you have right now is going to be nice. It's going to be nothing compared to your next vehicle as you continue to help other people to have success. You are in one of the best industries ever, in the sense that your compensation is directly tied to you pouring seeds and blessing others and making things happen. And so I don't believe that there's any coincidence that you decide to speak up. And I don't believe that there's any coincidence as to why you're hearing this conversation right now at this moment, that you have hit a tremendous milestone, but this is only the tip of the iceberg, and you're about to take things to the next level. And I just want to be able to say that I know you. So, so just make sure you be like, yeah. When I say, hey, but I know her, y'all can't let me in to the private party. Just be like, oh, okay, well, I think I heard him once or twice before I speak. I guess we could let him in.
You are a gem. Thank you. I receive all of that. Changing the language. Thank you, and affirming daily. I am. Thank you.
Excellent. And so it is. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on the call tonight. Always happy to hear from you. Yes.
Hello. Good evening, Andy Henriquez. Donald Flesman here.
Donald, what's going on? What is going on, my friend?
Not too much, sir. Not too much. I missed the call this evening, but I caught this last conversation with the lady, the missus that just called in, and I tell you, I had to. It's amazing how we catch what, like you just said, who's hearing these messages right now, and you're right on key with me, like I always tell you, my friend. That key of language and continuing to just keep on doing things outside your box, or I've recently in the past few months come to that point to where you keep growing and you're trying to stretch a name or get your stuff out there, whatever it is, and we get discouraged sometimes because you're not getting the outcomes that you want. Then we start seeing that you put in a little extra work, and then you're still not getting maybe what you're expecting. But I like what you said tonight about the other people that we're allowing inside of our circle, and I'd like to just throw a question out there to you for somebody like such as myself and following you, and I look up to you. I'd like to know what your take is on something like that as we're trying to develop ourselves, when it's our friends and our family and things like that that a lot of us have to overcome until we get to that level. What would be your take on somebody doing things that they do publicly and that have exposed themselves and been pretty transparent with where they're going and not ashamed to see where they're at in their life? And as far as that goes, just, because sometimes it's easier to just keep people in a circle just for the sake of argument and the sake of, tension. So I was kind of curious your take on that. And other than that, I just really appreciate your messages. And I would definitely be checking this out. I hope it's on the YouTube live stream tonight as well.
Absolutely. And so, Donald, right before I tackle your question, I want you to succinctly ask me the exact question, because you tiptoed around the question, but what is the exact question so I could give you a great response? So I give you a response.
Okay. When and where is it time when you're trying to do a public image, when you take away the ones that are in your circle? I'll just specifically like with Facebook. Okay? When you're doing what you're doing, others aren't understanding. They might not know, but the ones that you really want to speak to and reaching out with, this circle might be too big to where I'm being distracted from the ones that are really caring and the ones I should really be contacting with every day. You follow me? Because friends and family, even though they're friends and family, there can still be a distraction there that stops us from the next task that we roll. And for me, that's a personal thing for me, and it's hard for me to tackle. I've bounced back and forth as far as blocking people or maybe making my account private and trying to do something else. But I also want to make sure that the integrity has been there through the whole thing.
Okay, so excellent. So that's a great question. And I don't think there's an exact formula for that, and we each have to navigate that based off of what's most important to us. But I could tell you a couple of things. Number one, let me just help you out to just relieve some of the burden for you a little bit. And this goes all the way to biblical context, that when the statement is made that, and let me clarify this. I'm not implying for a moment that we're prophets or anything, but there's a lesson to learn from that statement. So in the context of the Bible, there's a statement in there that says a prophet is not without honor except in their own hometown. And so the statement is basically implying that you have someone who has a gift, and in that particular case, it was the gift of prophecy, to be able to tell people about the future, about what to expect into their life. And so they can go other places with that gift, and people will line up in long lines to be able to witness the gift, to touch the gift. But in their own hometown, meaning in the midst of their own family, in the midst of their own friends, that their own family and their own friends, because they're often too close to them, they can't appreciate what it is that they do. And so that's no different than for many, many people who are planning out a chart and paving the way and are looking to do something extraordinary with their life. I can tell you right now, my own mentor, Les Brown, has told me on many occasions, Les Brown, that has the ability that has flown to different countries and spoken to hundreds of thousands of people at one time, that goes to other countries and people are pinned up and lined against the wall and so forth. And yet and still, he still has, if he was doing an event locally where his friends and family were, that there'd be difficulty with just getting 100 people in the room. Okay. And the reason why is because they're still reflecting on back what they knew of him. And so they haven't accepted and embraced where he's gone and what he's done and the things that he's accomplished. And so that's one of those things that none of us are immune to. It's just part of human nature. The closer people are to you oftentimes, and if they have been a part of your journey, especially a part of your journey that maybe perhaps you had to grow through, they still want to keep you there. And the reason why they want to keep you there is not always because they want to be evil. The reason why they want to keep you there is because by them keeping you there, it allows them to feel comfortable with what they've produced in their own life. And so realize this, that if they have to accept what you're doing now in your life, then what it causes them to have to self-examine what they're doing right now in their own lives, and they may not like what they see. And so in order to help them in order to help them to feel better about themselves, they need to hold on to a portion or a part of you that is congruent with where they are in their life. And so if you're at different levels right now, they need to bring you to their level so they can feel comfortable. Okay. So understand that this is not just happening to you. This is just part of the process. So what I've learned is that you want to make sure that you love everybody, but there are certain people that you need to love from a distance. I'm going to repeat that again. You need to love everybody, but there are certain people that you need to love from a distance. There are even some people you need to keep in your heart, but not necessarily in your life. I'm going to say that again. There's some people that you need to keep in your heart, but not necessarily in your life. It doesn't mean that you wish any ill intentions towards them, but it's just because where you're going right now in your life, what they're doing right now in their life, it is not congruent. And so what happens is only one of two things can happen. Either they have to raise the bar in their own life so that they can operate and be comfortable with what's going on in your life and what has happening for you, or they will attempt to bring you back down to where they are, and we know we're not going to let that happen, okay? Or they need to choose to be away from you right now until they're comfortable with the fact that you have grown and you're no longer the exact same person that they remember you being. Now, how you choose to regulate that is on you. Now, whether or not you choose to block some people from your telephone, you choose to block some people from your Facebook, whether or not you choose to reduce your level of conversations with people, that's just going to be a personal preference. That's just you going to have to deal with that. There's no exact formula in that. We cannot play 100% police, but I could tell you this, that if you continue to put out the good stuff, if you continue to be positive, if you continue to take things to the next level, then naturally what will happen is people who are not congruent with that will slowly and surely begin to fade away. Okay? And this is just something that naturally happens. And let me tell you what's interesting. There's a lot of successful people that there are people who are their friends and family members that may look onto them and say, oh my gosh, they changed. And really, they have changed to some extent. They've grown, okay? But what they don't realize oftentimes is really what has happened is not that the person changed all that much, but it's just really that now the dynamics have changed. And so what they're realizing is to continue to stay in this person's space, that they themselves are going to have to raise the bar. And a lot of people would rather not raise the bar, and they rather go ahead and deflect to a simple statement by just saying, oh, you changed. No. I didn't change. The person didn't just change, they grew. And so we want to grow, right? Life is about evolving. You would hope, I hope, that if you listen to me right now, and 5 years later you caught up and you heard me, you'd be like, man, I thought this guy was speaking to me 5 years ago. Now when I hear this guy, he's at a whole nother level, right? We expect to change. We are supposed to raise the bar. We're supposed to get to the next level. And so that's my answer to you, man. It's just a matter of you continue to do what you do. Don't focus on what you're leaving behind, but focus on what you're moving towards, and continue to stay focused on those things that are most important and put out that good stuff. And just understand that the people who aren't congruent with the good stuff, the people who are fixated on the bad stuff, they're going to find a way to exit right. Whether you choose to moderate that or not, they will find ways to exit. Because after a while, they'll get so sick of your good stuff. They'll get so sick of all that positive stuff. They'll get so sick of your accomplishments. They'll get so sick of you making impact that it won't be congruent with them. And so they'll just choose to unfriend you themselves. And when they do, it'll be a blessing.
Amen. All right, man, my brother. Oh, man, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate it, Andy.
All
and
right.
God bless to each and every one of you out there. Thanks again, my friend.
All right, my friend. All right, excellent. Well, listen, we are absolutely at the top of the hour. I know we went a little longer with some of the responses, but I felt like those two people that there was, I believe all of you hopefully benefited from the response to that, because I think all of us regardless of if we accomplish some great things, we always want to raise the bar, get to the next level. And all of us have to deal with distractions and people around us to make things that get in the way of us getting to where we want to go. And so we got to keep the main thing, and stay focused. And so I just want to thank all of you. If you haven't already done so, get a copy of the book, Show Up for Your Life. You want to go to the website, showupforyourlifebook.com, showupforyourlifebook.com. Or if you love ordering stuff on Amazon, you can order the book on Amazon, or you can order it at Barnes & Noble's online. But most importantly, just get your hands on this book. Get your hands on the book. I can't wait to hear from all of you. For those of you in South Florida, I will see you this Saturday at Piano Hollywood at the Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood, Florida. We are going to have a fabulous time from 7 to 9:30. It's going to be a powerful event. I'm looking forward to all of you that are going to be joining us. And, of course, you can find me same time, same place next week on the Show Up for Your Life Motivational live stream and conference call. Of course, Lewis, the host of the call. Lewis, we want to thank you for what you do each and every week. Lewis, you could go ahead and bid everybody a good night, and I'm going to go ahead and close off on the live stream. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, family. Well, listen, I just want to thank all of you for tuning in for the live stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please go ahead. As you know, the live streams are made available afterwards on YouTube. You'll be able to find the messages. If you've missed the past messages, you can get caught up on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and go ahead and share these messages to people, especially those that you've got impacted with. So I want to thank you once again for being part of the Show Up for Your Life Motivational Movement, and I'll see you same time, same place next week. Thank you. God bless.